The woman I've chosen was the Commissioner of Operations for the United States Social Security Administration, leading a team of 53,000 employees spread out over 1,300 field offices around the world. She was one of the youngest managers ever to be selected to enter the United States Senior Executive Service. She was, for several years, the highest-ranking African-American woman in federal government. She was honored by President Bill Clinton with the Presidential Meritorious Rank Award, the highest award for leadership in the United States. My current and future plans have been directly inspired by lessons learned through her. She was my mentor, my motivator-in-chief, my role model, and my mother, Janice Warden.
Having been in the senior executive service in the government, for the federal government, and knowing what battles I had to fight 20 years later, and she fought them in those days. I mean, it's just amazing when you really think about that. You're the only person in the room, a sea of thousands, and you're the only senior executive in the room. She did that years ago, and I had to go through that later on. But I know that that path was just really not as difficult because Janice went through it first.
To know Janice and to know the co-workers and her friends and family is to really understand the foundation of what Kim is built on.
I've actually worked with Kim in several different environments, in the political environment and trying to get a new president elected.
She went in to state of Pennsylvania, a place where she did not have necessarily any roots, and she led the army of attorneys, and she won that state.
Here at CRL, Kim has achieved an amazing level of success in passing national consumer protection laws.
And our fourth speaker will be Kimberly Warden, the Vice President of Federal Affairs at the Center for Responsible Lending.
Lenders and brokers should be required to underwrite the loans so that borrowers can actually pay them back.
I worked with Kim Warden for 3 years in the office of U.S. Senator Bill Nelson. I learned a lot from Kim because she's dynamic, she's exciting, and she set the bar so high that I wanted to do well and do my very best.
Perhaps the most exceptional and extraordinary moment for me was at her mother's funeral. She was able to compose herself and render one of the most touching, the most moving, the most eloquent eulogies I've ever heard given.
I could see Kim being a member of Congress in 30 years, being on the cover of a national magazine. She's already been in a national magazine as one of the top 30 under 30.
In the future, I could see Kim either running a presidential campaign or as a Secretary of the Treasury.
The better question is, what is it that Kim can't do? Because Kim could do all.
How has my mother influenced my career objectives? Like her, I plan to lead, inspire, motivate a large number of people. In her case, it was for the United States Social Security Administration. In mine, most likely a company in the financial services sector. In the longer term, perhaps running a large company, maybe running a nonprofit organization, or perhaps running for the United States Senate. Like Janice Warden showed me and taught me, I'm acknowledging no boundaries, and I'm certainly not ruling anything out.